Have you ever hired a salesperson who crushed the interview but completely bombed once they started the job? Or worse, have you ever hired someone who talked a big game only to have them quit after like 3 weeks because the role wasn't what they expected? Now, if you're nodding your head right now, I'm about to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in bad hires and lost revenue. Today, I'm breaking down my exact 7-step system for hiring top 1% sales pros, the same system I use to build multiple 7- and 8-figure teams with a fraction of the turnover in the industry. Now, the best part, by the end of this video, you'll never have to guess if someone's going to perform again. Hey, I'm Marcus Chen, former #1 sales director at Cintas, where I led a 110% sales force to profitably deliver over 190 million TCV each year. And prior to this role, I was promoted 12 different times, hit #1 every single role, starting as an SMB account executive, then moving all the way up. And now I'm a sales trainer and coach to the fastest growing companies and reps in the world. Now listen, most founders and sales leaders are absolutely terrible at hiring salespeople. And I get it. If you've never done before, or if you're desperate to fill a seat or open headcount, it's really easy to rush the process, make really costly mistakes. The problem is most hiring processes are completely backwards. They rely almost entirely on the candidate's ability to sell themselves in a 30 or 60-minute conversation. But here's the truth. The best salespeople aren't always the best interviewees. The best interviews aren't always the best salespeople. So today, I'm going to give you my complete hiring playbook, the exact process I use to build multiple high-performing sales teams across multiple businesses. Number one, first things first, you need to get crystal clear on exactly who you're looking for, your IHP, your ideal hiring profile. This isn't just about experience or skills. I'm talking about what specific results have they achieved? What type of sales environment have they thrived in? What personality traits align with your culture? What's their learning curve and adaptability like? Now, your JD or job description should match this profile exactly. Don't just copy some generic sales job posting you found online or in ChatGPT. The clearer you are about who you want, the easier it becomes to spot them when they show up. And here's a pro tip. Include some sort of pre-filter in your application process. So for instance, if you need someone with at least 2 years experience, make that a mandatory field that they fill out. Or when I was talking to one of my clients, they kept having lots of inbound applications, but one of the key things was they need to have someone who's actually in the office versus remote. So literally, we just had her insert into the application, like, are you open to working in person at this office at this location? And if they said no, no problem. This way people know. Now, by just doing this, immediately weeds out people who are just applying to every job that they see. Step number 2, once you got your applications, the first step is a simple screening interview. This should be short, maybe 15 to 30 minutes long on the phone. And it can be done by HR, a recruiting partner, or even you if you're a small team. And the only goal here is to verify, are they who they say they are? Do they meet the minimum requirements to at least move forward? So don't waste time on a lot of fancy questions here. Just confirm the basics and see if they can hold a professional conversation. Remember, this is just the first gate. You're not making any decisions yet. You're just determining if they deserve more of your time and resources. Step number 3. Now we're getting to the good stuff. In this interview, you want to dig into behavioral questions. For instance, give me an example of a time you failed and what you learned. Walk me through your biggest sales win. Tell me about every time you've been ranked #1 on your team. These questions align to behavioral elements you require from your ideal hiring profile. Also, here's where most hiring managers mess up. They stop at the questions. The secret weapon is add an actual live role play of the most critical skills for the role. For instance, if objection handling is really crucial, throw an objection at them. For instance, hey, the price looks great, the product looks great, but I need to think about it for a few days. Go. Or if cold call is important, say, hey, pretend I'm the CEO, you know my name, you know my title, but nothing else about me. Show me how you book a meeting. Ring, this is Marcus, go. Now, here's the key. Have them role play as if they're still at their current company if they're not still there. This way, they can use the excuse that they don't know your product yet or your company yet. Don't let them talk in hypotheticals of what they would do. Have them demonstrate it exactly how they would do it on the spot. This immediately reveals their actual skill level, not just how well they talk about their skills. Step number 4. This is a step that almost nobody does, but it's absolutely gold, and I learned from my last company. Bring them in for a full day to see exactly what the job is really like. When I did this, candidates would come in on Mondays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I know, we were a bit intense. They'd sit in on the sales meeting the first thing in the morning. They would hop into the cold call block. They listen to live calls. They would make live cold calls. They would meet different department heads. They go to actual sales appointments in the field with the reps. They hang out with the reps. They would do everything the rep would do in a full regular day. And this accomplishes two critical things. First, they get to see what the job actually involves. The pace, the accountability, the culture, everything. There's no more, this isn't what I expected after they start. Now, second, you get to see how they interact with your team, how they handle a full day, and if they actually fit in your environment. The reality is anybody can act perfect in a 1-hour interview. It's hard to maintain that all day because things will slip out. I'm telling you right now, this step alone will save you months of headaches and thousands in turnover costs. There were times where I had an amazing first interview with them, great role play. I think they're pretty solid. And in the actual day, things came out. They became tons of red flags that we were able to isolate out as part of the process. Step number 5, have them interview with leaders from other departments. This ideally is on the same day as the in-person day. This could be your operations manager, your customer success team, or some more senior in the sales org. The goal here is to get a different perspective on the candidate. Different people will notice different things, and this creates a more complete picture. Again, stick to behavioral questions, maybe ask some other role plays, but they're really focused on getting a holistic view of the person. Step number 6, the last interview should be someone more senior, maybe the CEO, sales VP, or another executive, depending on the size of your company. This is less about skills and more about a final culture check. Does the person align with company values? Will they represent you well? Do they have the right mindset? Can you see them growing and become a future leader in the organization, whether it's as an IC or as a future leader, or maybe other departments potentially? And by this point, if they made it this far, they probably have the skills. This step is just making sure they're a right fit for your specific team. Step number 7. Now, before making any offer, gather everyone who's part of that interview process for a huddle. Each person should share their feedback, the good, the bad, and any concerns. And then ask one simple question. Will this person make our team better? This collaborative approach dramatically reduces the risk of a bad hire because you're not relying on just one person's judgment. Oh, and I almost forgot. Throughout the process, ask for their brag book. This is a collection of proof. That's rankings, awards, recommendation letters, screenshots of results. If they don't bring one to the first interview, ask them to bring it to the next one. Like a top performer will have no problem providing evidence of their success. If they can't, that's a huge red flag. So for instance, I haven't interviewed in over a decade, but I dug out even my brag book. His brag book that I had, I kept adding to that I used for every interview to get promoted 12 times in 8 years. Inside, I have rankings reports, letters from senior vice presidents for being #1 globally, shout-outs from my sales VP for hitting #1, letters from the senior execs for closing deals like FedEx, Columbia Sportswear, emails from happy customers, recommendations letters from leaders from all roles, 30, 60, 90-day plans. Essentially, it is literally inexplicable proof of past success. And at the end of the day, winners win regardless of whatever they do. Now, your candidate may not have a physical brag book because this is like over 10 years old, if you will, but they can bring a digital one. This is actually what we tell a lot of reps that we coach directly if they're interviewing better roles, to actually just show the proof of how awesome they are. All right, so if they don't have one, ask them for one so they can go and make it for you and show you. Now, finally, once you decide to move forward, always do reference and background checks. These are your last line of defense against a bad hire. And there you have it, my complete 7-step sales hiring system. Is it more work than a standard 30, 60-minute interview? Yeah, of course, absolutely. But when you consider that one bad sales hire can easily cost you over $100,000 in salary, lost opportunity, replacement costs, and also just the stress of it all, this process is like the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. Implement this system, and I guarantee your next sales hire will not only perform better, but will stick around a lot longer as well. Drop a comment below and let me know which step you're going to implement first. If you found this valuable, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more actionable sales and sales leadership content. Now, if you want to see how to onboard a rep and get them producing revenue in days, not months or quarters, check out my exact step-by-step onboarding blueprint right here.